Today we're going to review some geometric principles for some common shapes, and we'll start out by looking at a circle. You all know what a circle is. A circle is simply defined as an object where all the points on that object are an equal distance from the center. And we call the distance from the center to the outside of the circle, we call that the radius. And we use the lowercase r to represent the radius. Oftentimes when you're given information about a circle, instead of the radius, you'll be given the diameter. And you just need to remember that the diameter is defined as twice the radius. So it's the distance across the widest point of the circle. One thing to just watch out for in problems involving circles is just make sure you pay attention to whether you were given the radius or the diameter. The next thing we want to define is the circumference. And the circumference of the circle is simply the distance that you go in going around the circle once. So if I started up here and I go all the way around the circle like this, that distance is called the circumference. And the way we calculate the circumference of a circle is we take the radius of the circle and multiply by 2 and by pi. Remember that pi is a number that's actually a non-repeating decimal. It goes on forever, but usually we just use the first 3 digits, which is 3.14. So if I want to calculate the circumference, I just take 2 times 3.14 times the radius of the circle. The last thing we want to define for a circle is the area. The area of a circle is simply equal to pi times r squared. And one of the things to remember about area is it has units of distance squared. Okay? So in other words, if I measure my radius in meters, the area would be in meters squared. Or if I measure my radius in feet, the area would be in feet squared. Let's try out a practice problem. So in this example, a circle has a radius of 4 centimeters, and we want to know, a circle has a diameter of 4 centimeters, and we want to know what are the radius, the circumference, and the area of the circle. So the first thing we want to do is go ahead and figure out what the radius is. We know that the diameter is equal to 2 times the radius. So dividing both sides of that equation by 2, the radius is the diameter divided by 2, or in this case, 4 centimeters divided by 2, which is 2 centimeters. And obviously I know you can divide 4 by 2 in your head, but I just wanted to kind of write it out formally and show you that. The next thing we would do is once we have the radius, we can calculate both the circumference and the area. So circumference is equal to 2 pi times r. And again, what that tells us to do is take 2, multiply by 3.14, and then multiply by the radius, which is 2 centimeters. And if you work that out on your calculator, you'll get 12.56 centimeters. Okay, and so that would be the answer. To calculate the area is pi r squared. So I take 3.14 and multiply by 2.0 centimeters squared. And so you'll notice that when I do that, since it's 2 centimeters times 2 centimeters, that's how I get centimeters squared in the answer. And when you work that out, you'll get 12.56 centimeters squared. Now you notice in this particular example, it happened to be that the circumference and the area came out with the same number. But first of all, that obviously won't normally happen. But the other thing is to realize that even though the numbers are the same, they don't mean the same thing. What this is telling you is that the distance around the circle is 12.56 centimeters, and the area is 12.56 centimeters squared. And I want to just emphasize really what we mean by area. If you picture our circle here, and our circle had a radius of 2 centimeters. So 1, 2. I want you to just think about what is a square centimeter. A square centimeter is the area in this box. And so when we say that the area of our circle is 12.56 centimeters squared, you can imagine you could fit 12 of those boxes, or a little more than 12 of those boxes in here. And if you just kind of look at it very roughly, and my drawing is very rough, but you can kind of picture 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, plus a little bit left over, and we can see at least roughly this looks right, that the answer is a little bit more than 12 centimeters squared. Okay, let's do another example. In this example, it says the circumference of a circle is 18.84 feet, and we're asked to find the area of the circle. So we've got our two formulas, that circumference is 2 pi times r, and area is pi r squared. And you'll notice that the thing that's common to both of these formulas is that they both have the radius in them. So in order to do this problem, the first thing I want to do is find the radius of the circle, and then once I do that, I can find the area. So I know that the circumference is 2 pi r, or in this case, that means that 2 pi r is equal to 18.84. And the next thing I would do is divide both sides by 2 pi, so that now I have r is equal to 18.84 divided by 2 times 3.14. And if I do that math, by the way, make sure you always do that multiplication on the bottom first. In other words, so what you're doing with your calculator for your final answer is taking 18.84 and divided by 6.28. And when you do that, you'll find that r is equal to 3 feet. Now once I have that, I can now go ahead and calculate the area. So the area is pi times r squared, and so that means 3.14 times 3 squared. And if you work that out with your calculator, you'll get 28.26, and the units would be feet squared.